Let's see. Get the Twitter stuff sent out. Get the bot joining. And get Discord taken care of. Okay. Good God, it is weltering today. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is, I don't know why I was going to say February, it's not even remotely close to February. It is June 19th, and this is the June 19th Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be working on some more combat stuff. Specifically, we're going to be working on cleaning up combat transitions. Specifically, combat transitions, or transitions from combat back to the overworld. The transitions to combat from the overworld, I'm still pretty happy with that. So there's not really a ton that I have to do there. The the main things that we're going to be doing are basically cleaning up the transition back, which does function, but it adds a lot that needs to happen to it. And basically getting the workflow for setting, well, how to phrase this, for setting different spawn points than the default. So, for example, we have, in the particular test case that we put together, I have a crate that you can position in such a way that it will drop on the troll's head if it's properly attacked. And when you beat the troll, I would like the wall behind him to shatter, except I don't want that to happen if you beat him normally. It can only happen, or it should only happen, if special conditions are met. So what those special conditions are, probably for this test case, is just going to be when you drop the... Well, I'd prefer it to be separate. But I guess... Okay, yeah, I was kind of going to hold back on this idea, but I think we're going to do it anyway. Basically, you need to drop the crate on the troll to finish him off, and that will open up this back area. Otherwise, the crate will fall off and do a different animation than that particular special animation for breaking the wall down. And then, of course, once the troll is defeated with the crate, then the wall back here should be broken. So there's just a series of things that we need to set up to get that to work properly, but that's going to be the secondary thing for tonight. The primary thing is going to be polishing up what we do have currently. And what we have currently is basically a functioning skeleton. You can get into combat, you can complete combat, and you can get out of combat. There are some minor polish issues that I think arise from the way I'm handling health labels, but for the most part, everything's working about the way you would expect. So a couple things. I'll throw the coding label up there, and then I'm going to go ahead and get down to business. So let's go ahead, and I'll show you what I currently have. Also, forgive the terrible shadow artifacting going on here. I baked the light maps so that they would have more visual consistency between the scenes. But apparently, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, the model that ProBuilder made for this is just not UV'd correctly. So its second UV map is probably either non-existent or it is basically the same as its regular UV, and that's why you're seeing all of these terrible distortion effects. Which are cool if they were intentional, but they are not intentional, and therefore they are not desired. Yeah, you can see it like really bad here, just splotching kind of. Anyway, so let's go ahead, and I'm gonna pull the lever here. We'll go ahead and set up the troll fight, which I will mute because I'm no fun. Okay. One of the things that I want to do is I want to change how that message shows up. Right now it's just like pops in and then it just pops out again. Need to do some sort of crossfading there, and that's much more preferred. Second, there are other things that I guess I'm going to go ahead and show. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to attack the crate. Oh, and this is another thing I would like to do is have a per attack facing. Oof, barely made it. A per attack specification that lets it decide whether or not the label should face the player. Because for the crate ones, I would kind of prefer that they don't really face the camera so much as they just are flush with the platform. And the way it's currently set up, I could probably actually do it in that very specific case. I could make that work. But in a situation like this, we have two different labels that should show up, one on the left and one on the right, and the one on the right I would want to be flush with the actual platform there. Sorry, like trying to think these things through is surprisingly hard when you're doing Of course. Oh, at least I failed. Okay. Um, and yeah, the fail cutscene actually is pretty nice because it will lerp generically from whatever the active camera is. So I no longer have to have like 5 different failure timelines. I can just have one that will lerp back the way it's supposed to be. So that's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to attack the troll. We'll do better this time. Did I fail? Did I not type that correctly? What happened there? Huh. Let's try that again. I don't feel like I failed there. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm just losing. Okay, well, this will give me a chance to test the fail setup. Okay, that's about right. That's about right. So, fun fact, this is one of the things that I want to polish too, is the combat menu does not close when we transition back. But that's pretty easy to fix. So, let's go ahead and stop playing. We're going to do a couple of things. One, I have no idea why it was failing. It seems like it... Well, I don't really know. I don't... Like, I mean, I was typing it, and as soon as I typed it, it went forward, so... Question mark? I don't know, that's weird. Okay. Well, for now, I am going to go ahead and do a couple of things. One is going to be create some spawn points, because I need to do that. Spawn point. This is going to be... We will not have any surrounding zones, that's fine. We'll just call this... Jeez. Magma caves, I guess. Why not? Okay, let's go ahead and duplicate this. We're going to call this one combat spawn. Then we'll call this one special spawn. Okay, so combat spawn will be magma arena, and special spawn will be lake caves, because why not? Let's go ahead and group these things together. So we'll say spawn points. Alright, go ahead and save. And with that, we should be pretty comfortable with our setup. I am going to go over to the combat test. I need to change some things real quick. Specifically, I need to go down here to right here. So that's correct, and we want to change this to magma arena. Okay. So these are some parameters to set up default values for where the player should return when combat is completed. For the most part, the default values are going to be the ones that get used, but there will be special cases where these default values will actually be changed during combat. So in particular, for our example scene, when we beat the troll through the wall here, we're going to spawn basically on the other side of the wall, not in front of it like we normally would. And it's mostly just so that we can test all of this stuff and make sure that everything works the way we'd expect it to. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go back to our out of combat test. I actually kind of wonder if this will have timeline be broken again, in which case, well, I assume we'll probably just close Unity and reopen it. That'll probably fix it because, you know, it's timeline, so why wouldn't it fix it? Let's go ahead and say hit. Oof, it is... Ah, man, I really should have brought the fan in here. Sorry, I really the headset is really what kills me in this temperature, just because it's stapling hot air to my face, basically. Okay, so we're gonna go to battle again. Okay, so real quick, this is what I was talking about, by the way. I have no way of making one of these attacks not face the camera, and I would prefer that the crate not face the camera. I'd prefer it to be flush with this platform. Okay, so let's go ahead and say crate. Hit harder. And then finish it. Okay. So let's go ahead. We're going to say battle. Attack the troll. Weird. So that time it worked. I really don't know. And this is one of the things that I was talking about, by the way. For some reason, the highlighting on the letter is incorrect. It seems to work on the far right L instead of the O like it should. So I don't really know. What's going on there. That's kind of weird to me. We'll take a look at that later tonight, hopefully. Attack the troll. See, I'm a little worried that the okay, so we're down to one letter now. I'm a little worried that if you fail a multi-attack segment, that it will just always fail. So for now, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to kill the troll. But that is something that I'm curious about. It's really the only thing that would make sense. Okay, so that's the troll dying. Then we get our fade out. And then the troll will still exist because I don't think we have anything actually paying attention to it. But you'll notice that the crate is gone. So at the very least, we have some sort of persistence going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop. We will also go ahead and let's see here. We're gonna go to I don't have it open. Okay. Where are you? I'm going to open up the combat system and we're going to make some edits. Specifically, we are going to edit what happens after the combat resolution cutscene plays. And or I'm not entirely sure if I want to just hide the combat resolution, or the, not the combat resolution, the, wait a second, timeout. There's actually something else that I need to do here. Let's go ahead and jump over to in combat test. We're going to open up our timelines. Here we are, turn end. So, this is interesting. Ah, that's what's happening. Okay, yeah. So, real quick. Ah, that's what's happening. Okay, yeah. Okay, making sure that I was not muted. I was really worried for a second there. Okay, so the problem that we're running into, the reason that like the action select pops back up again, is when the player completes an attack, it goes to the standard resolution phase. So let's go ahead and say direct combat. This is where we punch the troll a bunch. And what happens here at the end of it is we say, okay, if this is successful, play this cutscene, which of course does damage and then goes back to the action. Blah 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 blah. But a couple of things we probably actually want to do like that. And second, the problem is that when we deal damage to kill the troll, what happens is combat system immediately resolves that combat is over in the case of either the player or the troll dying. And then it immediately launches into playing either its failure or success timeline based on whether the player died or whether the troll died or the enemy died. So this scene or this timeline is actually pretty basic. All it does is basically do a camera lerp back to the idle camera, and then it just does a show combat message clip. that's not quite good enough because we need to also hide the current UI. But we don't want to show something if we're just going to hide it. So probably what we want to do here is under default success, I'm going to change the select combat action clip, or rather the behavior. And we are going to say combat system dot. Okay, didn't think so. Oh, it's because it's capitalized. Of course it is. Combat system dot enemy. Okay, I didn't think so. So I need a public-facing getter for our current health amount for both the player and the enemy. So we're going to go up to here. And let's see. Where do I want to? I guess I'll put it up here. So player. Excuse me. And I guess we're going to put it underneath everything. So is it above active? Okay, so it's under these. Here we are. So we're going to say public, what is it? It's int, that makes sense. Int player HP get return player HP. Okay. Public int enemy HP get return enemy HP. We're going to go up to here, and we're going to say if combat system dot enemy HP is less than or equal to 0, or combat system dot player HP is less than or equal to 0, then we are. Wow, I did that backwards, didn't I? I should have done this. If that and that, then we'll show our select action. Otherwise, we don't want to do that. It doesn't really make sense for us to do so. So let's go ahead and get rid of you because we're not using you. Close this and let that compile. So that should take care of it being displayed when we actually, what's the word? When we actually finish combat and the troll dies afterwards, because essentially what should happen is the damage should be dealt, and then immediately it should start playing the next cutscene, and then this, when it actually gets to select combat action clip, will simply say, oh, either the player or the enemy has 0 health, so I'm not going to show my select action because that doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and while we're in here, let's go to here. I guess we're going to want to probably have a shutdown or a close UI option, which is going to be, oh boy, really, really intense. Okay. I was basically trying to figure out, jeez, I don't want to do that. God, that's gonna suck so hard. Okay, but that might be really cool to come up with. So, okay, I'll do that. So I'm gonna make a timeline script that will close or open any given menu. The challenge there is I want to make this generic, which means that I don't want to, have a custom script for open HUD, then another script for open combat view. No, I would rather have a single clip that can take a type from a drop-down and then handle the menu system that way. So this is going to be a fun bit of editing, and it will involve reflection and a bunch of weird stuff, but I think it will be fun to do. So let's go ahead and first let's make the folder. Oh, and also I have, for the time being, I've decided that a good workaround for not being able to right-click and actually create stuff is to, unfortunately, make a bunch of custom tracks. Because you'll notice that if I have an attack section track and then I right-click, I still have add defense and offense sections. So it's just that for some reason, timeline scripts underneath an assembly definition file cannot just add their clips to the default playable track. I do not understand why. I think that's really, really dumb, but what are you going to do? So, all right, well, first up, let's go ahead and create, say, folder. We'll call this handle menu. I don't really. We'll just say get view. Okay. So for this, we're going to go ahead and create a new playable behavior. I will call this get game view behavior. That's not exactly the best, but I guess I'll roll with it. I don't know what else to call them because I don't want to call it like open close game view. Playables, playable asset, get game view clip. Ah, this is going to be such a weird editor sequence. So I'm going to have to write a custom. Dang it. Okay, never mind. So I'm going to have to write a custom property drawer essentially to draw a drop down so that I can select from types. Oh, that's going to be really weird, but cool. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and we're going to say public string type is equal to that. So this is going to be an interesting thing that I will explain a little bit later. For now, I'm going to need to say private type. Oh, sorry. System.type true type. And I actually do want to say override on graph start. And for that, we're going to say if application.isPlain we're going to say and not string.is null or empty type. Okay. We're going to say true type is equal to, and that we're going to need to say using system.reflection. Actually, is it reflection that I need for this or interop services? It might be runtime. Is equal to no. System.type. I think it's like get type. Yeah, there it is. Type. This is going to be interesting. Okay, and then, wow. Trying to think how I want to handle that. Essentially, it'll be fine. All right, so I'm going to get rid of these because I don't need them. Then we're going to do if application.isPlain. Okay, so let's let that compile. Then we're going to come up to our common. I'm going to make an attributes type selection. Excuse me, had to sneeze. Okay, well, while that's compiling, grab my water bottle. There we are. All right, so we're going to want to say right-click, create, not editor. Oh, right. This is already the editor folder. So I actually need to come up to here and do this. I forgot that that's how I separated it. So let's right-click and create. What did I call it? Type selection, I believe. Right. Yes. Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a C# script from here. So we're going to call this not attribute, type selection. Ugh. Type attribute maybe. Maybe like type field attribute. I think that's the better name. I don't like using. I don't want to use just type because then that'll be shortened to type in the attribute field, and that makes it look kind of weird. Like I'm declaring those class type as an attribute, and that just. Okay, so type field attribute. That's good. Let's Go ahead and open this up. Okay. You're gonna work with me. Good. Let's come back down to here. Create C# script. Type field attribute drawer. Get that opened up. And we should have a pretty fun editor scripting time tonight on this. Okay. So close some of these. Type field attribute is going to be a property attribute. It's going to be in the common editor. Using Unity editor. Using sleepyowl.common. Alright. And this is going to be a property drawer. Nice. There's a custom property drawer. Type of. Type field attribute. Alright. So we don't really need to do anything here. Like it doesn't really have any initializers or fields to initialize. This is pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get rid of you. I'm gonna come up to here when I say using system.reflection because we're gonna need to do that. Okay, let's do override on GUI. Get rid of this, and this is where it gets fun. So I need to populate a dropdown of all of the types. Oh boy. Okay. Oh shoot, I lied. I do actually want some parameters here that are optional for the most part. We're going to say public read. Oop, I didn't spell public right. Public read only. Bool include base of. This actually got way more complicated. So the idea that I was planning. Oh, I also need a type, ironically. The idea that I was going to do here is I wanted to essentially create a drop-down method, or a drop-down that would be a drop-down that displayed all types derived from a given type. So let's go ahead and say is equal to false. Then I'm going to come up here and just say using system because it'll be much easier that way. Then we're going to say public read-only type target. We'll just call it type. Okay. Okay. And from this, we are going to need to say type bool include base class is equal to false. Okay. I'm just going to come up here and say this dot type is equal to type. This dot include base is equal to include base class. Rename this class. Okay. And now that I have that, it means that I need to do my whole cached attribute stuff. So I'm just going to say private type field attribute attr private type field attribute attr get return attr not equal null question mark attr else attr else attr is equal to attribute as type field attribute. Okay. So with that, I'm going to want to do a couple of things. I want to say, jeez, do I really have to handle it like that? I wonder, no, that wouldn't work. I wonder if I could make a generic version of type field attribute. And I feel like the answer there is maybe, but I've never done it before, so we're going to try it the way I would expect to do it, and then if that doesn't work, I'll try to find some other way of doing it, assuming that this actually does work. Okay, so a couple of things first. We're going to say private GUI content, because we need to populate our dropdown. I'm going to say generate labels. We'll go ahead and say serialized property. Come down here. Hello, Paul. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? All right, so we're going to say GUI content. We'll just say labels is equal to new GUI content. For now, it'll just be 0, and then we'll return labels at the end here. From there, we're going to have a fun time, and we're going to say, well, we need to start doing some actual reflection stuff. So that's great. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Is it like get? It's like loaded assembly. No. It's assembly something. Assembly algorithm, ID attribute, configuration, file flags, assembly name. I thought it was just assembly. Okay, assembly dot create qualified name, get assembly. I thought there was like a get all loaded assembly, but I guess that's not necessarily true. Not that. We'll go ahead and say get assembly based on attribute dot type. Okay, so that should get our actual assembly. Assembly is equal to that. Doing okay. I am so-so. It's been ungodly humid here recently, and that just murders me. Also, I was called into work earlier this week after hours, so my hope that crunch was over is only kind of true. So I'm doing okay overall. Anyway, so from this, I think we're going to say assume dot. I believe we can iterate through everything. I think there's like get types. Yeah. Okay, so this is where it's going to get fun. We're going to basically have to loop through this every single time, which is going to suck horrendously. So I'm going to need to say types is equal to that. We're going to come up here and I'm just going to say using system. It'll be much easier that way. Okay, that should get us all of the types. And now I need to loop through all of those types and then say if they are of type attribute.type, then I'm going to add them to the list of labels. So that's going to be fun. I guess would it be better to loop twice, or would it be better to loop once and do a string? It would probably be better to loop once and do a string. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say list. Oh, I don't have a list thing up here because I need to say using system.collections.generic. Using system.collections.generic. There we go. It's good except for the crunch. Very, very true. Okay, so for this, we're going to go ahead and say list string type names is equal to new. Okay, we're going to go ahead and say for int I equals 0. I is less than types.length I plus plus. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We're going to say if types of I dot, I guess I can say is attr dot type. No, that won't work because it's runtime. Oof. Okay. I think it's is subclass of. Yeah, that can take a type rate. Good. We'll say attr dot type. Okay, so if it is a subclass, which I don't recall if that greenlights it if it's not a subclass, like if it's the exact same class. We'll test this. So I'm just going to say type names dot add types of I dot. I think I can just do name. For now, I'm just going to do regular name, not the full name, because the full name is like, the whole, it includes the namespace, which I don't really need. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the base name. Okay. Then from here, we're going to say type names dot count. Go ahead and say for int I equals 0. I is less than labels dot length. I plus plus. Labels of I is equal to new GUI content. And we'll say type names of I. Okay, so that should generate all of our labels. And now we should be able to pretty quickly actually get this populated. If this works in one go, I'm going to be very impressed with myself. Okay. By the way, Paul, what we're trying to do right now is create a drop-down of or showing all of the class types derived from a specific class, so that I can easily do generic stuff with inspectors. It's very weird in premise, so it'll be much easier to see it once we get it actually working. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say GUI content labels is equal to generate labels, passing in property. Okay, do I actually need to pass in property? I don't think we use this ever. We don't, so I don't even need to do that. I can just do that. And we're going to say if labels.length is greater than 0. We're going to do something else. I guess we'll just say editor GUI dot help box position, and the message will just be uh-oh for now. Message type dot warning, because I don't really know what else to say there. That explains the reflection. Yes, it does. Reflection always bothers me because it's so slow. Yeah, I mean, this isn't something that's going to be done at runtime, fortunately. Well, I guess technically it is. But it's not being done repetitively at the very least. So it's not something that will be really terrible. We're essentially just storing the type and then grabbing that later. So we can do things a little bit easier instead of me having to script like 500 different scripts to do the same thing, but with a different type. Okay, so if that's the case, then we are going to do a couple of things. We got to do int index is equal to 0, and then we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than labels.length I plus plus, and we're just going to say if property dot string value is equal to labels of I dot text, then we're going to say index is equal to I, and then we will break out. Okay. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and say editor GUI dot begin change check if editor editor GUI dot end change check Yeah, the workarounds for not using reflections are almost as evil as using reflection. Yeah. I mean, technically, the workarounds for not using reflection would be slightly more performant, but the amount of time that it would take to reach the level of flexibility that reflection adds is just not worth it, really. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and say property.string value is equal to labels of index.text. Okay, pretty straightforward there. And we're just going to say index is equal to editor GUI dot popup, and we'll say position followed by label followed by index followed by labels. Okay. So I will be so amazed if this works. Like, just stunned if it works in one go. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab this. Okay. Get rid of these, and these. All right. So now begins the actual fun test. Let's go ahead and say serialized field, private, string type is equal to nothing. Oh, crap, right. That is something that I wanted to do. So I don't know if I should allow the option to have a none type. So essentially, if you set, so when it generates labels, it won't just have a labels for all the types. It will also have an additional label for none. I feel like it wouldn't be a bad idea to have that, but it's also, I'd say it's safe to presume that if it's not, I mean, if you're setting these up, you would really never want it to be none like that. That seems like that would be a good case for that, but I don't know. I'm going to also go ahead and say -1 here. That way I can go ahead and do my safety check here. We're going to say if index is less than 0. Then we're going to say index is equal to 0. And then I will say basically this. Okay. So let's go ahead, come back here, and we're going to say attribute. Oh, not attribute. I kept wanting to call it attribute. It's type field. Okay. And then we're going to say type of game view, I guess. Followed by include base false. I don't really care about that. Okay. So this should test it. Let's go ahead and namespace these correctly first. Grab that. Grab you. Okay. Oh, yeah, and then I need to say using sleepyowl.com. Okay. Should be good. So let's let that go. I'm really excited to see if this works, because it'll be really, really cool if it does. Okay, so let's go ahead, say, add a new playable track. Let's just drag this out to the root. Gotta wait for this to compile, because I can't really do anything until it does. And Shazam. Seriously, Unity, it should not take this long for you to compile. Okay, so we want to drag in, get game view clip. Moment of truth. Oh, yeah! Oh, no. That almost worked. Okay, well, okay. Well, I'm going to do a couple of things real quick. I'm going to get rid of all these annoying inconsistent line endings things, because they are very annoying. And I hate it when it does this. So we're like half correct. That's what's really weird, is that it's like, if we look at this, there's 3 options, all of which are correct. They are all of type game view, but why are there only 3? That's really weird to me. Not what I was expecting. I suppose I should... Oh god, this is gonna suck. I really don't want to keep generating labels every single frame. I think I'm gonna cheat real quick here. I'm gonna come up here. Let's see. Private. Let's go ahead and say if labels dot length is equal to 0. I'm gonna do that. Okay. So that'll be a little bit easier on us, just because now it won't have to regenerate constantly. That will also let me just check this really quickly. Oh god, this is going to suck so hard now that I think about it, but... I wonder if the namespace is the problem. No, it should be fine. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say debug.log types I.name plus basically this. This is going to suck because there's going to be a lot of them, but it will hopefully not be terrible. So, you know what? I'm actually going to flip these so that it's true or false in front. Okay, here we are. Mostly because that'll let me easily scan the console, as opposed to having to try to kind of guess which ones are true and false. So I'm not sure how to feel about that. I'm happy that we got a drop-down generating in one go without me ever doing this before, but I'm very sad that it didn't work all the way. It only picked up 3 classes for some reason, which is very strange to me. Let's find out why. Excuse me. Okay, we got all of this stuff. Oh, crap. Crap, that's why. Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that. So, when it's loading assemblies, assembly definition files are going to isolate everything, so I have to get all assemblies. I can't just get the assembly of the type that I'm passing in. Then what was it? I thought it was like assembly dot. There's like load all, isn't there? But I don't remember what. Or like get loaded assemblies. Meh. Okay. I thought that. Oh wait, was it get executing assembly dot get executing assembly? Maybe. Ooh. No, that's probably not it. Okay. Quick foray into Google. Sharp. Get all assemblies. Ah, dang it. Of course, it read that as a URL. Assembly. There should be a way for this. Ah, app domain. There we go. Okay. I knew it was something. I just couldn't remember what. App domain dot. What was it? Wait, what? Did I immediately forget it? Get assemblies. Current domain? Is that what I want? Get assemblies. There we go. Okay. So that's what I needed to do essentially. So we're going to say assemblies is equal to that. And then I essentially just need to loop through each one and oh boy. Oh boy. Yep. Okay. So this is going to change pretty drastically. Well, not drastically, but pretty notably. So these two lines are going to be basically moved inside of a for loop. So we're going to want to say for int I equals 0, I is less than assemblies dot length I plus plus. Okay, and then we're going to do this. Okay, so this is going to be asym is equal to, oh yeah, he can go away. And I guess we can go ahead and get rid of you as well for now. You're going to come in down here, or I guess actually probably right about there. Okay, so we're going to say instead of assembly.getAssembly, we're going to say assemblies of I. God, this is really terrible because it's going to loop through all of my assemblies and then it's going to try to load stuff. So good God, at least it's only going to do it once. But man, that sucks really hard. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to say assemblies of I, asym.getTypes. Okay, and then we're essentially just going to do this whole for loop again. So we're just going to move this to here, get rid of this, and we're going to say, you know what, I probably actually do want to have type names above that, don't I? So back you go. Okay, so this is going to be j is equal to 0, j plus plus, then all these j's instead of i's. Okay. Okay, so that should work a little bit more like we would expect, and I think that's pretty much everything we needed to do. So let's go ahead and let that load. Now that I think about it, that might actually be would it be problematic? Don't know. I will go ahead and get rid of this debug line call though. That'll probably help speed things up. Okay. And then once that compiles, it'll be perfect. And I will have solved world hunger. Because, you know, why not? I am curious to see if this works. I'm actually more curious to see how horrendous it performs. Because I think I have, at this point, probably about 39 assemblies that it has to loop through. So, not bad. I have a lot more views than I thought I would. Main thing is, let's find out. Oh, they're not alphabetized. Great. Okay. It is, so it does not include the type itself, I believe. So there's no game view in here, I don't think. Unless I've somehow already gone through it. But game overview. Nope. Okay, so it won't include itself. That's fine though. I am going to go ahead and say I want. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Combat view? No, no, no. Yeah, yeah, sure. Why not? Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Weird. I thought it didn't change for a second there. Cool. So that actually doesn't really perform that bad. I guess it caches it after a while, or after the first time, so. Yeah, that worked out better than I was expecting. Okay, then. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead. We're going to need to go back to here. I also need to add an enum to basically figure out what we want to do with it, whether we want to open or close it. So I'm going to say get view. I don't know what to call this enum. It's basically just going to have open or close in it. Which I guess I could actually relegate to a bool now that I think about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and just create that real quick and then I'll delete it. Might as well just make it a bool, I suppose. Because it's either going to be, it's just going to be an enum with either open or close, which might as well just be a bool. So let's go ahead and go back here. I don't know why I also kept saying like it might as well just be a bool. I just felt like saying that a bunch. Okay, so we're going to say serialized field, private, bool, open is equal to false. And we'll say tooltip, if true, will open the target menu, otherwise will close it. Okay, so then we're going to need to come back here. We're going to need to basically copy that, paste that in, make it public, and then we're just going to say, after all this, oh god, that's going to suck because I have to get the runtime construction of it, don't I? Oh, that's gross. Oh god, I really don't want to do that. Oh, I really should write a reflection utility to handle that. So basically, the way my UI system works, which won't really right here, I need to say using sleepyowl.common. We would do something like this: UI.get and then combat view. So this is a class declaration, not a type declaration, which becomes problematic because I essentially need to cast the type that I get back from this into a usable class name, which that I've done once before and it's been a while. So let's see. I believe there's something like, I think I have to use system.unsing using system, I think it's like runtime.interop services, I'm pretty sure. So we essentially want to say true type dot, let's see if I can get this. Is it get constructor? No. There's a way of transforming this back from a type. Just got to remember how to do it. Let's see his class. Xenum is instance of type. Family, subclass of, make array type, make generic type. Is that right? No, I don't think that's right. Oof. Oh, yeah, of course. Reflected type. Is that what it is? Ah, that's not it. Dang it. What is this? Type handle? Maybe? I don't think that's right, though. It's not like class or anything, is it? No. Grumble. Okay. Oh boy. I. Well, let's see. Do I have something called reflection utility? No. Okay. Then I'm not sure what to do here. So let's go ahead and see where I'm using system.reflection in this project, which I'm sure will not at all be a very grossly large number. So we have reflection helpers, which is in Cinemachine, and I kind of wonder if I can make use of that. Get types in assembly. Get types. Right, loaded assembly. Maybe I can just pass that in then? So can I just say true type? I'm like 90% sure that I can't. Yeah, no, I definitely can't. Wait, what? Did I spell true type wrong? No, you're just not compiling because of the squiggles. Okay, let's see. Where was I using this? Let's try and drag this up. So I know I've done this, and I'm really hoping that I've done this in the project, or in TextQuest, and I didn't do this like at work. Because otherwise, I honestly am not going to remember at all. Sector stream export. That's interesting. Why is this under... Oh, that's because that's in the sector thing. Okay. Here we are. Editor audio utility. That's probably not going to help me much, is it? No, not really. Get method. So we can get method info from it. There is a way to do this, and it's going to drive me insane if I can't remember how to do it. Type of, let's see, TextMesh Pro Editor, that's not what I want. PG util. Oh, this is Pro Grids, that's why. That's weird, this isn't my class. Or apparently it is? That's really weird. I don't remember making this. Okay, sure, why not? Let's see, ZBrush mode, mesh. That is clearly something else. Weird. I think the Pro Builder stuff got pulled into my... Oh, that's right. This is the project one, not the assembly definition file one. Duh. Okay. Let's go ahead and collapse those because they're apparently not very useful. Plugins, audio input, timeline playable wizard. No. UI tools, TextQuest plugins. Well, I must have done it at work, which is very disappointing. Okay. I did not mean to click on Steam. Why do I have that right next to my web browser? Okay, so let's go ahead and check out load type to class. That's not what I want. Because what I'm trying to do is a really weird section of reflection. Let's see. Exception. Let's go ahead and say get class from type. There we go. That should be what I want. Class object from type. I think this is it. Is that really... Boo. That's dumb. Okay, let's go ahead and come back here. I'm going to jump over to here, close this, and I guess I'll take a look at my UI class. I might have to do something a little different here, because I can do this, and I think, yeah, I can specify a specific type, but the problem is that it's a generic thing, so I can say true type. But that's the problem, is like type arguments, I need to give it a specific type here. Let's go ahead and say go to definition. I really, really, really don't want to do this. Ah, jeez. This is why I hate reflection, because it gets into weird territory like this. There's a way to do this. I think, let's see. I do assembly dot get assembly true type, and then I can say dot. Is there a way to get? Oh, there's a create instance. Ooh, it's probably not actually what I want. I'm like 90% sure that that's not what I want. Let's check out what create instance does. Assembly dot create instance. Okay, it's a type from the assembly and creates an instance of it using. I don't think that's quite what I want. Let's see. Person, blah, 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 blah. Let's see, person, create instance. No? Pretty sure that that won't. No, that just creates a instance of the object. Okay, let's see what my options here for assembly are then. Assembly methods, create instance, let's see, great qualified name. Not a lot of class then. Well, that's probably not great. Type, let's see what our methods are here. Assembly name, attribute space type, contains generic parameters. Was it a generic? What was my options here? Nope. Okay. True type dot. Okay. Generic arguments. I don't think that's right. Like, I'm pretty sure that I can't just do that. I'm like 90% sure that that is not correct. Right? Yeah. See, I'm not crazy. Alright. Time for some more research. This is what happens when I try doing something really, really cool on the Devstream without actually trying it ahead of time. So let's see, C# type. It's like, represents. Let's see, type. Constructed. No. The generic type definition GT expressed in C# syntax G of T. Okay. Instantiate the type G. So that kind of is actually what I'm trying to do. It's just not quite correct. So that, yeah, because that still takes a type, not a class. For a type. Apologies for the hmming and hawing that I'm going to be doing for a little bit while I try to remember how I did this in the past. Get interface. be what I want. Oof. That is not great. Okay. Return to interface. No, that doesn't really help me at all now, does it? Bah. Okay. Well. I really, really, really don't want to write a completely new function in my UI class just to handle this. I don't actually even think it would be that bad, honestly. I just don't want to do it because I'm lazy. Let's see. So I could totally pass in like a type here. That's so dumb. Okay. Yep. 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 I really, really, really didn't want to do this. But okay. Let's go ahead and copy this. Okay, so we're going to take away the generic T. This is going to be... Oh, dear. That makes it even more annoying, because now I can't really cast it while I'm there. I also need to return that type. Oi, no. There's a way to do this. I'm not quite ready to give up yet. I'm almost there, but I'm not quite ready. Okay, so let's see. Dot create instance entry point equals evidence full name get custom attribute exported types get file nope loaded modules pretty sure that's not what I want get module name reference assembly satellite assembly get type is defined load module manifest module reflection only not string. There is a way to do this, and it will be a glorious moment when I actually figure it out. I'm just very mad that I can't think of it. Wow. Can't type. Not that, no. I probably can't really... I guess I would say too generic. Maybe. Let's see, type of... Let's see, key... Okay. This might be a little bit close to what I want. If O is T... T of O... Process message objects. Type. Process? I don't think that's quite right. Although I'm curious what type.process is. TrueType.process, which is not a thing. Okay. Alright, off to a good start here. Oh, I guess that's because type is of type by message. Okay. Let's see, get type. It's really, really, really annoying. I guess I could cheat. Oh, wait. No, that'll work. Okay. I didn't think about this. Game view, and then true type. That'll work. So it's not exactly what I had in mind, but it'll work. So this is a function that I wrote a while back to essentially allow me to grab specific um, specific menu types, because you could have situations where you have the same class that is the parent class of a couple of subclass of children classes. Well, I cannot talk today. You could have a parent class that basically have multiple child classes that are also in the list for the UI menus, but you might want to grab a specific one. Like, for example, the main thing that I've run into is my file save view is the parent class to my file, or is the parent class to my file load view, because there's a lot of functionality that's shared between them. So when I want to get the file save view, I will specifically say, get file save view and then pass in type of file save view. That will basically force it to load the base class that is file save view. It won't load accidentally somehow the file load view if that happened to have been open first. So this should actually do what I want. It's not the perfect solution. Well, no, it actually kind of is. It just sucks because it's going to grab like all of my game views basically. So it's going to be a little less performant overall, but it's actually not bad. So I can just do this. Then I'm just going to say, I guess I'll just say if open else. And instead of get, I'm just going to say open, and otherwise it's going to be UI.close. Are you serious? I don't have that working for that. Fine. Then I'll just do this get. And then dot open. This will be get game view true type dot close. Okay, that should work. So let's go ahead and make sure that our clips are assigning everything. So I'm going to say behavior.type is equal to type. Behavior.open is equal to open. Okay, so that should essentially do what I want. I guess I'm going to go ahead and say and true type is not equal null. Cool. So let's let that load. We'll try testing this out. And if it works, I'm going to be really ecstatic. Because I honestly was not expecting that to actually... I didn't think about that. I just completely forgot that I had a function that took generic types instead of... well, not generic types, but types instead of generic arguments. So hopefully that'll work. We'll find out. So we'll just go ahead and get into combat real quick. And basically once we... This is default combat success, so... Oh, no, that's the... I don't want to go that long, so I'm just going to be lazy. Let's go ahead and go to our intro. And you know what, on phase one, let's just do it here. Create a playable track. Boom. So we're just going to do that. And I'm just going to go ahead and say combat view close. Okay. So the first time we attack, the combat view should basically go away. And if it does, then we'll know that our function is working as expected. I'm sorry that I couldn't give you guys cool ways to cast from a generic or from a type to a generic class. There's a way to do it in C#. I just always forget what it is because I've only done it a couple of times. It's been so long since I've done it last. I don't know why I didn't hit play. And it's really cool when you get it to work. It's just something that you won't really need to use very often. Okay. So we're going to hit. Okay, everything looks good. Let's go into battle. And Wow, you did not do what I was expecting. So either it didn't do it. Oh, that's disappointing. Okay, then let's go ahead and do some debugging. Debug.log. True type dot name. Son of a. You know what entirely is possible? It's entirely possible that it just broke timeline. I will be very upset if that's the case. So we'll say true type no question mark no else that. Okay. And otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and say debug.log open. Okay. So let's go ahead and try that again. Once it compiles, of course. Well, despite the fact that it wasn't quite as smooth sailing as I would have liked, I do like that I now have a attribute for conveniently selecting types. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's go ahead and play here. I don't know if it'll work perfectly if there are multiple attribute dropdowns in the same view or the same custom inspector, but we'll find out. Okay, so there's our combat. Okay, so that is null, which is very unfortunate. Crap. Is type null? I guess I should have debugged that as well. Okay. We'll say type plus this plus that. Okay. Let that compile real quick, and I don't think there's really anything else I need to do. So if, I mean, it's null, which means that system.type.getType is clearly not correct, which is probably because I'm going to have to loop through all of the assemblies. That's going to suck so hard. Oh, jeez. Actually, let me check real quick when type get type. Does that just load from the currently loaded assembly? Performing a case-sensitive search. The assembly qualified name of the type it gets. Oh, shoot. I might need to do that. If the type is that, would make sense. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and change that real quick. That might be why. Close you guys, because I need you. Type field attribute. Alright. So this is going to be when we generate labels. It's going to be, what is it, qualified name? Yeah. So let's try that instead. I really do need to learn more about reflection. I don't use it very often, but when I do, it's really cool. I understand there are, of course, performance implications to using it, but it's more about expanding my tool set with it. Because I've only used it a handful of times, but it's proven useful each time that I've used it. And it's certainly nice for shortcuts. Or even better, getting to Unity things because they love marking all of their stuff as internal. Freaking, I hate that they do that so much. Okay. So let's go ahead and go up here. Oh, crap. What I need to do is I need to go back into in the combat test. I need to load that timeline real quick so I can guarantee that it actually works. Yep, that's about what I was expecting. Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay, that certainly makes things way worse. So terrible. Right. Well, I want combat view. It's a good thing this is really easy to read. Combat view. Okay, we'll let that go. I will probably, if that works, if it actually loads in, probably what I'm going to end up doing after that is changing that so that the labels that are displayed, oops, wrong thing, are different from the actual string values that get set. Because having all the token version equals 0.0.0.0 whatever, all that stuff is kind of, I mean, it's not really useful for people. That's obviously just code that needs to be known, or values that need to be known on the back end, but it's not really useful to show that in the inspector because people don't really understand what that means. Yes, it works. Well, that's exciting. Cool. So now we need to change this. Okay. Crap. Yeah. Yep. That's not ideal. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do some minor changes. So we're going to have generate labels, which I'm just going to show the name. And maybe actually, you know what? We'll do the full name, which does include the namespace. Does it make sense? We'll just do the name for now. Okay. Next, we are going to want... I really don't want to do that. You know what? Why don't I just do this? This would be better. Do another string list. Type assembly names. New list string. Okay. I'll say I type assembly names dot add types of j dot assembly qualified name. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to go back up to here. And I guess I'm going to have private string type names. No. Raw types. It's probably a decent name for it. Raw types is equal to that. Okay, then we're going to come down here. We're going to say raw types is equal to labels. Oops, sorry. New string labels dot length. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then we'll just say raw types of I is equal to type names. And this is going to be type assembly names of I. Okay, so that should be a little bit easier on us, except we do want this to change from labels to raw types. Get rid of you. Raw types. Okay, where are we using this? So we do want to populate it with labels. We'll go ahead and say we don't actually care about saying labels is equal to that anymore. Instead, I kind of think I can just say void here. I don't even need to say it's equal to or needs to return anything. Okay, we're going to go down to here. Get rid of you. Labels.length, labels.length. Okay, we're going to say is equal to that. Get rid of you. And that should be pretty much everything that we need. Yes. Okay. So did that backwards. Oop. Ow. Gripped my, almost knocked over my water bottle in my attempt to grab it. I hurt my finger. I don't even know how I did that. Ow. Okay, so we need to reverse these real quick. This is going to be type names because these are the names that are going to be displayed. Raw types are the actual assembly qualified names. Okay, so that should be good. Let's go ahead and go back. We'll let that load up again. We'll set the value and then we'll give it another test. I'm actually curious. Actually really curious about that. I'm going to open up. God, this is probably going to be murder on the stream. I'm going to open up the profiler because I want to know how bad the reflection spike is. I'm curious. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to combat test real quick. Let's go to timeline, grab view, combat view. Well, that's interesting. It didn't. Okay. Didn't need to change. Oh, that's right. It wouldn't need to change. That makes sense. Yes, that's actually what we would expect. Okay, let's go to combat success, which I'm pretty sure is where this was. Yeah. So we want to go to where are you? Combat view. Close it. Cool. Let's go ahead and just really quick. I'm gonna set the duration on this to be like 2 frames, which is, not exactly what you want, but it works. Okay. So now let's go back to our out of combat test. I'm going to check out our profiler. Profiler, which I always skip over. There it is. So this is gonna be fun. Hopefully it will not just destroy the stream. I'm really hopeful that that's the case. I don't think it'll be too bad. I'm not going to do deep profile. I just want to see if there's a noticeable spike. Okay. So let's do this again. Everything should be set up. It should use the much more sensible namespacing or label drop-down solution, but it should still set everything appropriately. So let's go ahead, say hit. Okay. So getting pretty good frame rate, by the way. We're hitting about 120 frames per second, which is, it's what I want in my high-speed action game. Okay. I'm pretty sure, excuse me, that one of these 2 spikes is the reflection. I don't know which of these 2. I was thinking it was the first one, but I think that's actually not true. I think it's this second one. So let's see if there's something that we can get. Wow, director update is taking up most of our CPU usage. It's generating quite a bit of garlic. Garbage. I don't know why. I don't know why I thought GC stood for garlic collector. That's not quite right. Okay, let's see. Get game view behavior. That is certainly something, but that's actually, on behavior play, instantiate. I guess that makes sense. A lot of garbage would be done there. Set parent. Really? Okay. Heat map position tracker. That's very curious. I don't even know why that's on there. Okay. Log string to console. That's something else. Game object.deactivate. Well, at the very least, it's nothing too terrible. Let's see. I don't really see anything really noticeable about this. Anything for reflection? Render deferred reflections. Nope, not really. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess it is about 3 milliseconds, which is pretty. I mean, it's the 4th highest one, or I guess it's technically the 2nd highest. Whatever. That's not too bad. I was just curious to see what that was like. Okay, so it works, and that's what matters. Cool. So let's go ahead and jump back over to in-combat test. I'm going to get rid of the phase 1 script for that, because that was just a test script. Okay, next thing to do is going to be handling spawning or follow targets per action, I guess. And I'm actually kind of curious. Go to direct combat. Follow target. Okay. So that's not ideal. I really, jeez. So it's a mixed bag. I don't. So if I move the follow target stuff from the central location that it has right now, to the individual actions, not only will it'll help in the broad view of things. It'll help because it means that per action I can specify what I want. But if I want all of them to do something, it means that I have to manually set them all to do that. So it might be better to have options for this. It just sucks because that's basically doing both systems, which I guess is fair. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's close some of the things that we don't need anymore. We don't need you because you work. We don't need to have this log here. And we don't need these debugs. Okay. Interactive object inspector, I can get rid of some of these things. All right, let's go ahead and let that compile real quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up. I guess it wouldn't be you, it would be this. Tag section clip. And, jeez. Yeah, this is where it's going to get fun. Because we're already getting pretty cluttered here, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, okay, so let's see. Right. So I think, oh right, this has also got a custom inspector, doesn't it? Everything's getting better. Everything's getting much better. Let's go ahead and open up this, because we're going to need both of these things. Okay. And I'm going to need an enum as well. So we'll create a new folder, call this, well, hold on, this is my enum, right? Yep, okay, good. Let's go ahead and say create C# script. I'm going to call this attack section follow type. Okay. So this is going to be an enum that basically has 3 options on it. It's going to be all follow target, all don't follow target, or individual, basically. So let's go ahead and change this to be a byte. It'll be from class enum. Don't need you. You are going to go to the textquest.combat namespace. Okay, so we're going to say all follow is equal to 0. All static is equal to 1. Individual is equal to 2. Okay. I'll go ahead and comment these while I'm here. All labels will face the target. All labels will remain static. Each label will determine it should follow the target. Okay, let's go ahead and come back here. So this is going to be fun. So no longer will follow target be a bool. It will instead be an integer, or an enum. Find all references here. I guess that's true. So let's go ahead. We're just going to call this attack section follow type is equal to all follow. Okay. Yeah, and here's where it gets fun. I really don't want to change this because I have to do the editor stuff for it. And these are much, much, much more cumbersome than I would like. Okay, so I guess let's go ahead and close you. Where are you? Go to definition, pull this over. Okay, so I think I'm trying to think. Does it make sense for us to have that be a bool here? So the thing that really sucks about this is that I'm essentially going to be sliding in a bool that I guess combat action isn't really ever going to be used anywhere other than the combat action clips. So it's not like it's going to be used outside of attack section clip or anything else. So it's probably fine to have this bool here. It just sucks because it means that drawing it's going to be a big pain. And, ugh. Okay. Well, this is going to be fun. Because I would prefer not to show. God, this is really going to suck. I'd prefer not to have to show the bool unless it's really something that can be used. So it would make sense to show the follow target bool if my attack section clip has its follow target set to all follow or all static. It doesn't make sense to show it in that case because it would be ignored. But I don't really have a good way to hide it. So I basically have to show it, which sucks really hard. Okay. What can I do there? Back here. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to have a bool here if they're all set to something specific. Oh, right. It's going to complain. Because this is not a bool. Let's see. Attack section. Follow type. Come down to here. So that would be if follow target is equal to all follow. For now, that will be all I really do. Oh, right. Is equal to all follow. Okay, let's let that compile. Take a drink. We should see our inspector update properly this time. Oh crap, nope, it's going to throw an error from... Interesting. Why are you mad? I know you're mad here because of this. Let's see, attack count. Here we are. This is going to be dot int value. Wow, it does not equal, I guess, int attack section follow type dot all static. Woof. All of the editor scripts today. It's seems to be the theme with my dev streams. I always start out with like a very specific task that I want to do, and then inevitably within 30 minutes, I'm like, you know, it would be really cool for an editor script. It's this thing that has only tangential relationship to what I'm talking about currently. Okay, there we go. So now we have all static, all follow, individual. Um, so all static would mean that it is. Oh, I guess I should change the tooltip. All static means that all of the labels will just spawn at their initial positions, facing their initial rotations. They won't do anything after that. And then all follow will basically do the opposite. All of the labels will face the camera. And individual. Oh, of course I spelled it individual instead of individual. Individual will basically allow each one to manually control if it faces the camera or not. So, a couple of things real quick. Let's go up to here. By default, we're doing all follow. Okay. I'm going to change this to determines if all labels will face a target, remain static, or allow individual labels to control their rotation. Okay, let's go ahead. And what was my other individual? There it is, follow target, that's why. Okay, so we're going to go down to here. Rename this individual. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to combat action. I will, I suppose, do this. So tooltip, public bool. What do I want to call this? Follow target is equal to false. If true, will face, let's say, label can't type will face a target transform. Okay. Oh, right. It's a struct. Okay. Go back to here. And then we're going to go down to combat action drawer. Let's go ahead and grab. Oh dear. Right. So, jeez. We're going to go up to here. Let's copy this. It's, what did I call it? Follow target. Yep. Get that so that its height is correct. And, oh boy, all of the fun. Where do I even want to put it? Is the question. I guess I would put it under parent to spawn. Let's see, property find command. Here we are. So we're basically just going to do this. And then follow target. And because I'm obsessed with making sure this is all correct in the same order, I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so that should properly format it so that it will look like what I expect. Should. Probably won't, but it should. Come on. I believe in you, Unity. Okay. And no null references, so that's good. Cool. Not a fan of this, but I guess that's to be expected because, oh, that's right, because it's a text thing in the background. So now we can individually control these, I would hope. Let's go ahead and set this up so that it actually will do that properly. We'll go to text section clip. I guess it's not really going anywhere there. We need to go here, don't we? Yep, 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 yep. All right. So we got to say if follow target is equal to all follow, or follow target is equal to. Oh, you know what I can do is I can shorten this to. No, that wouldn't work. Okay. Or follow target is equal to individual and let's see, I'm assuming this is me looping through all of my attack messages, correct? Yes. Oh dear. Wait, time out. That's really problematic. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. No. No. So this won't work here. Because this is the multi-attack section. Like this can only happen in multi-attacks. If it's our individual attacks, that's different. We actually need to go to here. They're not pause. Here. Okay, so we're going to say or this, and this should be looping through my actions. Yes. Actions of I dot follow target. I was trying to think of a more elegant way of putting that, but I think the only thing I can think of is if follow target does not equal all static. But I was going to do like an or after that, and that wouldn't make sense because I can't say or follow or actions of I dot follow target. That doesn't really make sense. So I have to do this, unfortunately, very specific check. Okay, so let's go ahead, let that compile. Whew. Okay. So once this actually compiles, we'll be able to test this. So I'm going to set the crate to not follow target and the attack the troll to follow target. So now, if we get to, or when we get into combat and we get here, the crate label should no longer rotate to face the camera. It should just spawn in and be flush with our platform here. So let's go ahead and go back. Where is it? There we go. And give this a shot. That was interesting. It just played that sound on my speaker system. That's really weird. It should have played it in my headset, but it didn't. Okay. So we're going to hit here. Alright, so let's go into battle. Come on, work on the first. Oh, I'm stupid because I didn't activate the crate. Of course. Okay, let's try this again. Pull. Okay. All right, there we go. Combat again, and yes! It worked! So now Crate is flush with its parent transform, while Attack the Troll is actually just rotated to face us. So that worked out pretty well. Ooh, that was weird. I wonder if I should change the label behaviors, or rather expand the label behavior, so that it has types of rotation it can do. So, for example, we could have it rotate to face the camera flush on, which is what Attack the Troll is doing. We could have it be static, which is what Crate is doing. Or we could have it do isolated rotations, so like rotating along one axis. Essentially doing what the characters are doing, how they don't rotate to face the camera head on. They just kind of like rotate their y-axis to face the camera. I don't know if that would be better or not. It might be more consistent because it's kind of weird having one that's rotated to face the camera head on and one that's not, but it's not really a huge problem, I don't think. Hmm. All right. Well, for now, let's go ahead and try to figure out what our other problem is, which is uh, the health label. Oh, you know what? Also, I need to get the HUD to close because you can see the reticle right here. Let's see. I can't spell. Okay, so that's that. So keep an eye on the health bar up here. When we finish our next attack on the troll, the O will go away, but the L will be highlighted, which is really, really, really bizarre. Let's go ahead. Do this. Attack the troll. Kick, crush, punch. Kick, crush, punch. And I feel like I should just be the Parappa the Rappa sensei. So there it is. The O is gone, but the L is highlighted, which is incorrect. Next, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and run into combat again, and then I'm going to purposely lose the this part. So I'm going to get like one thing in. Because I want to know if failing it basically makes it impossible to win it in the future. Okay. A lot of weird stuff just happened. Okay. So, for some reason, the health bar for the troll thinks that it got 2 health back, and it populated it from the right, or from the left, instead of from the right. That's super weird. Okay. Finding out more bugs about this. That's good. It's good. Let's try this now. Yep. Okay. That's good. So, apparently... apparently it just fails if you failed it once before. Okay, so pretty intense combat system. Well, let's try to fix that, shall we? Let's see. On behavior pause. We are doing the is plain stuff, which is good at the very least. Let's say and is plain, just to make sure that gets in there properly. Okay. Maybe I need to do... Let's see. Attacks completed, curve index, mini combo. Like, everything should reset, which is what I would expect. But why does it instantly fail? Like, we go right to failure, which I guess I should check to see which cutscene it actually fails in. Maybe it's not a failure of the multi-attack section, and it's actually a failure of the previous attack section. That seems unlikely, but it's possible, I guess. Okay. Let's go ahead and when it fails, should be on behavior pause. I wonder. Oh, that would be very unfortunate. I wonder if it's because it skipped ahead. Maybe it got like locked at the end, and then when you start it again, it immediately sees that it's at the end, so it evaluates right away. Ugh, that'd be terrible. Okay, let's go ahead. We have a fail here. And then let's get the type. What did I call it? Is it just type? Yeah, okay. So let's let that load and give it a shot. On the label stuff, I have no idea what's going on there. That is very weird to me. It is just super strange. Because it seems like the troll starts losing health at the right pace, and then it just weirdly freaks out, which makes me think that I'm probably making a stupid call somewhere. Alright, let's go back over here. We gotta pull this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to first go through and I'm going to do the normal attack. I'm going to try to complete this. Okay, so it lost health. That's correct. Now let's try losing health through the crate. That's really annoying. I kind of wonder if I should skip to the end of a clip whenever it's like that. Maybe not. No, probably should. There it is. So that's weird. I feel like it's queuing up damage, but not releasing. So essentially, it's marking health as something that's going to be damaged, but it's not actually following through on that premise. It does seem to be related to the crate, maybe, or maybe it only happens after you get past a certain point in the health bar. I'm not sure. Well, either way, let's go ahead and see when this failure happens. Oops. Okay, we're just going to let that go. We got 2 health back, which is super weird. Okay, so back into battle. Okay, so it failed again on multiple. It did not fail. It did not fail on the single, which means that it's failing as soon as it's getting in there. Okay, which makes me think that on behavior pause is getting called, but how is it possible? Because it should have this safety check here that prevents it from being called before play is called. Okay. Okay. Well, I am curious about this. Jeez. Yeah, jeez. Ugh. Okay. I do not know why this is happening. Hmm. Interesting. What could we be doing wrong here? I mean, obviously, it must think that is playing is true somehow. We never set it to be true outside of our play, which means that it must be calling play, but then it must immediately be calling. This is weird. This is very weird. Um. Hmm. Perhaps I should have a bug or a debug statement in here. That might be helpful. Just because I don't want to constantly be spammed by all of the combat that I have to do to get there. I guess I'm actually curious. I wonder if it will fail in the first section as well, or if this is exclusively a multiple attack section problem. So let's run over here. We're gonna say hit. So I'm gonna attack, fail the first cutscene, and then attack again. So I'm not gonna do anything here. I should fail. Wow, I gave myself a lot of time for this one. Oh no. No, don't tell me Unity. That that's been going on long enough that it must have finished and it just didn't do anything. Oh my god. In other words, the failures that we were seeing might just be because Timeline was like, I'm gonna break now. And wait for it. Boom, it's at the end. Oh good. So we can at least fail there. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so it just instantly fails. Um, okay, well, that's going to involve me closing and opening Unity again to test that because it's clearly timeline gone haywire again. Thanks, timeline. So I'm going to say that's a pretty good place to call it. Just because it's gonna take like 2 minutes for me to open the project again. It's gonna be dead air. So I will continue experimenting with this tonight, and then I'll make some posts on the Discord and whatnot to talk about my findings. Um, Let me think. Announcements before we sign off. Nothing in particular. So we got a fair amount of progress made tonight. We got a fancy new type attribute drop down thing. I don't know why I couldn't say what it was, which I mean that technically was it. That lets us select from types via dropdown. We have combat UI. Oh, well, we have UIs retrievable via generic function or via generic dropdown, which is kind of cool. We also have a little bit of cleanup done on the UI. We still have a lot to do here. Namely, really getting the UI to not be as jarring when it comes in. But that's something that shouldn't take us too long to do later on in the week. But for now, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.